Good morning, all. I'm not sure who picked my theme music for the morning, but it sounds all right to me. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we're meeting today on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians. Pay my respect to their elders, past and present, to all other Indigenous Australians here with us today, and to welcome all of you to Wired for Wonder, a terrific event, and one that I personally look forward to being part of each year. I'm here, I guess, nominally, as the signs would have said, as the Chief Executive of the Commonwealth Bank. But as I'm talking over the next few minutes, I want to talk not only in that capacity, but also in the capacity of somebody who's been active in the not-for-profit sector in education for the last 15 years, and probably even most importantly, as a dad. Because for all the discussions that we're going to be part of over the next little while, and you've already heard David and Adam kick this off, re-emphasising the context of the world we're living in, the importance of innovation, etc., it is absolutely critical to all of us in whatever capacity we are functioning in our day-to-day lives to really be focused on education. And I just want to talk about three very simple themes this morning, and those themes are skills, equality, and collaboration. Skills, equality, and collaboration. And underpinning all of those three headings is the fundamental thought that not only in our own businesses, and I'd just like to echo Adam's welcome particularly to Commonwealth Bank customers who are here today. It's terrific to have you join us. But whether we're thinking about our own businesses or more broadly about the communities that we all exist to live in and to serve, the strength of the education system that underpins those communities is going to be an absolutely critical underpinning of our success both individually and collectively. Now, when we think about this from the CBA's perspective, as a 105-year-old organisation, we have a fundamental view that we can only continue to be successful if the community around us is successful for the long term, and that can only happen if we have a strong education system and one that's helping all our children successfully adjust to the new world that we all enjoy talking about, the picture that we all enjoy painting. And that comes back to me to those three themes of skill, of equality, and of collaboration. So let me start with skills. And as you would expect, any discussion that talks about the importance of skills and how skills need to adapt to the world of the 21st century very quickly goes to the importance of STEM. And to me, that is a very important part of the world we are going to be living in, indeed the world we are living in now, which is whatever business you're in, whatever community you're in, those skills in science and technology and engineering and mathematics, those sorts of skills undoubtedly are more relevant now than they were 5 years ago, and are going to be a lot more relevant in 5 and 10 years than they are today. Now, there's a lot of debate as to exactly to what extent all our children are going to need those skills, and those debates inevitably lead to predictions about what proportion of jobs are going to get automated, what proportion of jobs are going to be displaced, etc. Now, that's all interesting to read, but I'm not actually sure that our interests are best served by spending more time and effort on those predictions. Why don't we just agree it's a significant number? And what we really need to be focusing on is what we're doing to prepare our kids to have the skills they are going to need to be successful contributors to the workforce in 5, 10, and 15 years, and acknowledge that those skills are going to be more focused on the STEM subjects than they were previously. And therefore, we do need to look to our education system to help prepare more kids with those skills so they can thrive and they can help our businesses and our communities thrive. So undoubtedly the STEM subjects are a very, very important part of the picture. But when talking about skills, I also want to emphasize they are by no means the exclusive part of the answer. And in fact, I worry, if anything, that too much of the debate has focused on the need to develop more people who can code. They are a critical resource, but let's not kid ourselves. We are still human beings. We're still broader than just the skills that we need to code. And on that note, it's a delight and not a coincidence that we're meeting here at NIDA. And I might here add a fourth capacity that I'm speaking in on this topic, which is as the chairman of the Sydney Theatre Company. Because actually, as an employer, as a member of the community, I think the skill that is most scarce, that we most need to foster, is creativity. My 8-year-old daughter had 2 wonderful experiences in the last school holidays. One was going to code camp, where she came home with an app, and the other was here, where she came home wanting to be Kate Blanchett. Both of those experiences, which she was fortunate to have, are critical skills in what we want to build in our children. Adam spoke of the importance of curiosity, of asking questions, of that passion to look at the world a different way and imagine how things can be done a different way. And I can tell you that one of the most inspiring environments in which I've seen that in the last couple of months was the hours that I spent interviewing candidates to be the new artistic director of the Sydney Theatre Company. We settled on a great candidate, actually a graduate of here, Kip Williams, 30-year-old Australian. And Kip and the others that I interviewed, as I spent time with each of them, showed how they can look at the world in a different way. Show how when they look at the same thing I'm looking at, they somehow see it a different way, turn it on its head, have it speak to them in a different way, and that is the creative mind at work. And I'm absolutely an advocate of the expansion of STEM to STEAM, and I'm absolutely an advocate of the proposition that if we're going to need more creativity to underpin innovation in our companies and in our communities, we need to make sure we're developing not only outstanding coders, but outstanding creative minds as well. Exploring the natural curiosity of our children, their natural desire to ask questions, their natural desire to look at things in different ways, and fostering that to drive the innovation which is going to enrich our communities. So that's the skills part. And that moves naturally on to the equality part. We can all see, for those of us who have got any relationship with the schools of today, the exciting possibilities of how technology is enabling teaching, is enabling pedagogy in ways which are demonstrably different from at least when I was at school. Now, I wasn't at school quite back at the time of the abacus, but boy, my classroom environment that I remember certainly has parallels with an abacus when I look at some of the tools available to the kids of today in the schoolrooms. They are able to grasp concepts, to learn independently, harnessing technology in a way that we couldn't dream of when we were children. This gives us the opportunity to build enjoyment, to build skills among our youngsters in a way which is demonstrably more compelling and engaging than years ago. But it also carries with it one major risk, and that's that technology as a wonderful enabler might also be a driver of further inequality in educational outcomes between those with the resources and those who don't have as many resources. And whether you're an executive, a member of the community, or just a human being, that should worry you deeply. Now, I talked about the pleasure that my 8-year-old daughter had going to both Code Camp and NIDA, thinking both about STEM and about creativity. Our community can only thrive if we all do whatever we can to ensure that those same opportunities, the same opportunities to use technology to learn STEM, to use technology to learn creativity or to foster creativity, and indeed, and this is dear to our heart with our Start Smarts program, to use technology to build financial literacy, are equally available to people no matter where they live, no matter what culture they're part of, no matter what their background is. And this is a time for all of us in the community to see a wake-up call for the importance of equality in education and supporting the phenomenal teachers that we have in our schools to make sure that the educational outcomes are terrific for all the kids. And this isn't just a matter of geography in different schools, because the research will show you that often the biggest educational differentiation can be within schools, not across schools. For us at the Commonwealth Bank, this leads us to do what we can to support teachers, the Teaching and Learning Toolkit, the Commonwealth Bank Teaching Awards, which we want to ensure not only celebrate excellence in teaching, but also particularly celebrate achievement and endeavour from teachers who are making it their job to ensure that the possibilities of technology within education are available to all our children in all our schools, not just to some of our children in some of our schools. Our innovative community, our ability to remain globally competitive, will not just depend on the top performers or even the average performers. It will depend on the quality of the education we as a society can provide to all of our children. Now, this leads me to my third and final point, having talked about skills, having talked about equality, and this is about collaboration. We're very clear at the Commonwealth Bank, we are not experts in education in any way, shape, or form. We want to leave delivery of great education to people who are experts. But what we do see is the increasing opportunities for collaboration among people from all different sorts of sectors towards the goals of skills and towards the goals of equality that I talked about before. Because while the actual education within the schools is best left to the outstanding teachers that we have, we all have the ability to support them. We all have the ability to play our part in making our schools even more effective. And again, the world of today, the technology that we're here to think about, to celebrate, to get inspired by over the next couple of days, is all enabling better, more effective, more efficient collaboration between schools and all parts of the community that they are part of. You'll get a really good example of that when you get your 3D goggles, your Start Smart goggles, and you can see the ability of a bank to help schools teach their kids about financial literacy. Those goggles come with the usual health warning about those of you prone to motion sickness need to be careful. But they are one example. The Teaching and Learning Toolkit, which I talked about before, our collaboration with Social Ventures Australia, is another example where we are facilitating online collaboration among schools so that they can share fact-based knowledge of what works and what doesn't work within schools to enhance educational outcomes. So we all have this responsibility. For us also at the Commonwealth Bank, it's about supporting great organisations like the Australian Indigenous Mentoring Experience, where Indigenous kids are mentored through school. About the Australian Indigenous Education Foundation, which provides scholarship opportunities for kids. Two organisations which I learnt about through the Commonwealth Bank and got so excited about that I decided to support personally as well. We need to help these organisations, we need to help these schools become more effective. It's all of our responsibility. Now, if we get skills right, if we get equality right, and if we get collaboration right, then we're in a pretty rosy spot. And whenever we talk about strategy discussions more broadly within the Commonwealth Bank, we start with the proposition that Australia is and will be a fantastic place to be in the world economy over coming years and decades. Adam talked earlier about there's a lot of volatility in the world, a lot of unpredictability. In the short term, we don't see that changing very significantly. But wherever we go in this region where we do business, when we visit Singapore, when we visit Indonesia, when we visit Vietnam, when we visit China, when we visit India, growth areas of the world, we see people who want to come and live here, who want to invest here, who want to have their kids educated here, who want to just come and visit here. That is not a short-term trend, that is the start of a long-term trend. And together with Australia's outstanding human resources and natural resources, that is the underpinning for an extraordinarily successful economy over coming years. But it will only be as successful in the long term as the education system that underpins it. As the skills we can build, as the equality, the opportunity for the kids in the schools, and as our ability to collaborate as a community to those ends. As you're sitting here thinking over the next couple of days about the ideas in the world, the opportunities for your businesses, the opportunities for you personally, I would also ask you to keep one other thought in the back of your head, is that how can you take the ideas you're listening to today and tomorrow to personally help our education system prepare exciting, innovative, curious contributors to our communities in the future. Thank you very much.